Hi there, welcome to the Peaceful Home. What does my fall lunch menu have to do with thrifting? You're about to find out. If you're new here, I'm TeresaElling. I'm a professional organizer, parenting coach, wife, and homeschool mom to 6 graduated kids. Today, I'm doing a collaboration with Hillary at Old World Home. This is the $5 Goodwill Challenge, where we take a $5 thrifted find and incorporate it into fall decor, a fall event, or a DIY. Now I knew I was planning on having a couple of friends over for lunch, and so I thought maybe I could incorporate these things together. So I went on the hunt looking for a thrifted item that I could use in my luncheon tablescape. I checked several stores without finding anything. And finally, last week, I went into Salvation Army and I found this blanket. I love wool plaid blankets for the fall and winter, and I thought this one was so pretty. And when I checked the tag, it was $5, so it was perfect. So I'm going to start by setting the table, and then I'm going to show you how I made each of these recipes, and then show you the entire tablescape at the end. If you're not familiar with Hillary at Old World Home, I encourage you to take a look at her channel. I will link it down below along with the playlist for all of the other $5 Goodwill Challenge videos. I'm going to jump right into the first recipe, which is the autumn squash soup. I'm going to start in by sauteing 1 small onion that's been chopped. I love this garlic from Aldi. I wanted to show you this. This is my favorite. It comes in 3 sizes, and I just can't get some of these jars open anymore. I love these. They're very quick. You just attach it to the lid, and then basically one hand on the jar and twist, and the lid pops right off. I need a good teaspoon of this garlic. Now I no longer saute in oil. I try not to use processed oil at all. And so I'm going to do a water saute. As soon as the onions start to stick and brown a little bit, I add water, continue to stir, and I do that until they're soft and translucent. My onions and garlic are sauteed. So now I'm going to add the butternut squash, and I just used a small squash that I peeled and cubed, about a cup of chopped carrots, a half a cup of pumpkin. And whenever I use just a partial can for a recipe, I will freeze the rest in half-cup increments. That way I can use them for baking and all kinds of things. So I took this out of the freezer last night so it would be thawed for today. And then I'm going to add 2 cups of vegetable broth. Now I had broth already in the refrigerator. I had 2 cups left, so I'm going to do that. And then I will add a 3rd cup out of my new container. I'm also going to add 1 cup of apple juice. I'm going to set this to boil and simmer the vegetables until tender, maybe 15 minutes or so. While the squash is simmering, I'm going to make my salad. I washed some romaine. Throw that in there. I know some people say you need to tear lettuce, not cut it, but I don't have time for that. I've always cut it. Gonna go through my spring greens because you know with bagged lettuce, that's just a thing, and you've got to take out bad pieces. I even like to give my spring greens a quick chop because I don't like having huge pieces in my salad. And then a little bit of spinach. Again, going through to make sure that there isn't anything slimy or gross. Sometimes if I have time, I will take off just the very ends of the stems. I don't love the way they look in a salad. I know they're perfectly fine to eat. It's just a preference. Take a few of those off. And then, you guessed it, I'm going to give these a chop. After the squash was tender, I decided to remove some of the liquid because I used a smaller squash than I had previously, and I was afraid the soup would be too watery. I used an immersion blender to get everything nice and smooth. If you don't have one, you can allow the vegetables to cool for a bit and then use a regular blender. I'm so glad I removed that excess liquid at the beginning. I think the soup would have been way too watery. If it is too thick, you can always add some of that liquid back in. Next, it's time to put in the cream. You can use half a cup of heavy whipping cream, or if you'd like to make it vegan, you may use almond milk or cashew cream. After that comes the spices, a little bit of cinnamon, nutmeg, salt, and pepper. Now it's time for the chicken salad. These are all the ingredients. Chicken breasts that I roasted yesterday and cut into cubes, chopped celery, chopped red onion, chopped grapes, red or green, I happen to have green on hand, pepper and garlic, sliced almonds, and mayo. I know I mentioned that I'm not currently cooking with oil, and really that includes mayo. In fact, I had to go buy this because I didn't have any on hand. I will still eat it sometimes if I'm eating out or having a sandwich, but for the most part, just really trying to cut out processed food. Today's a special occasion though, so we're having a lot of treats. I don't usually measure, I just estimate the amount of mayo that I want to kind of have that creaminess and hold the chicken and all the ingredients together. Obviously, the less the better, but you can gauge according to your personal preference. I am not in any way claiming that this is a healthy meal, but at the same time, one of the things I'm not compromising on right now is not having processed sugar. So although this is a bit of a cheap meal for me, it has bread, it has juice in it, it does not have any refined sugar. Baby steps, right? This also is a treat for me. It's not something I would eat every day. You want to start with about 10 ounces of bread. I used a whole wheat sourdough, probably about 5 cups, put into a 9x13 casserole. And then I'm going to grab my blender. I'm going to start by putting in a cup of orange juice, 1 can of pumpkin, 3 eggs, a cup of dates, and then finally a cup of cream. I'll put it all in the blender, and then I'm going to add my spices, nutmeg and cinnamon, a teaspoon each, and it calls for a teaspoon of ginger. I happen to have that kind of bottled fresh, so I'm going to use that. A half cup of cranberries and 2 chopped apples. This vanilla was given to me by my friend last year for Christmas. She made it and it's so amazing. I wish you could smell it. It's incredible. She said it would be really fun to do a video this year to show you guys how to make this as a Christmas gift. If you are interested in that, would you please comment below and let me know yes on the vanilla video. As you stir this, it's going to seem like the bread is getting all soggy, and it's supposed to. That's how you make bread pudding. This is actually a thicker mixture than most bread puddings call for. I think mainly because of the pumpkin. This is going to go into an oven, 350 degrees, for about 40 minutes. Maybe start it at 30 and see how it looks. It should look like a cake, puffed up, brown, and firm to the touch. The bread pudding is almost done, and I've just finished up the last few things. I've got some pumpkin seeds for the squash soup, and a topping for the bread pudding. Now this is completely optional. It is very decadent. It is equal parts butter, real maple syrup, and fruit-only orange marmalade. And you melt them together, and I'm gonna put that in a little pitcher. And then I whip the cream using vanilla and some monk fruit and a little bit of date syrup to sweeten it, and cinnamon. I'm gonna start putting everything on the table. Enjoyed this video, I would so appreciate a thumbs up, and I would love it if you would subscribe. My guests are about to arrive, so I'm going to do a quick tidy of the kitchen, and then we're going to eat this amazing lunch. Thanks so much for joining me today on The Peaceful Home. Have a great day.